Angelina Jolie just landed a major legal victory over Brad Pitt. A judge has ordered Pitt to release documents that could expose shocking details about their marriage, including alleged abuse. And while this battle originally started as a $67 million lawsuit over their French vineyard, it's now spiraling into something much bigger. Could these revelations change everything we thought we knew about Hollywood's former golden couple? Buckle up, because this story is about to get very messy. In 2008, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt seemed to have it all. They purchased the stunning Chateau Miraval, a sprawling French vineyard worth millions, where they later tied the knot in 2014. But what started as a fairy tale quickly turned into a nightmare. By 2016, the Hollywood power couple's marriage had completely unraveled, with Jolie filing for divorce. Fast forward to 2022, and the legal battles began. Pitt filed a jaw-dropping $67 million lawsuit against Jolie after she sold her share of the vineyard to Russian businessman Yuri Shefler. According to Pitt, this sale violated a verbal agreement between the two that required mutual consent before selling their stakes in the property. Jolie's response? She claims she only sold her share because Pitt refused to buy her out unless she signed a restrictive non-disclosure agreement, one that she alleges was designed to silence her about his abuse. The most explosive accusations stem from a private plane flight in September 2016, which Jolie claims marked the breaking point in their marriage. According to her legal filings, the incident began with verbal hostility and escalated into shocking physical violence. Jolie alleges that Pitt accused her of being too deferential to their children, initiating a heated argument that quickly spiraled out of control. In the bathroom of the plane, Jolie claims Pitt grabbed her by the head and shoulders, shaking her violently before slamming her into the bathroom wall. When she tried to leave, one of their children reportedly asked if she was okay, to which Pitt allegedly screamed, "No, Mommy's not okay." The situation worsened when one of the children tried to intervene verbally. Pitt is accused of lunging at the child, prompting Jolie to grab him from behind in an attempt to de-escalate. According to her account, Pitt then threw himself backward into airplane seats, injuring Jolie in the process. Witnessing this, the other children reportedly stepped in to protect each other. Jolie's filings allege that Pitt's rage continued for hours. He is accused of pouring beer and red wine on Jolie and their children, yelling profanities, and emotionally terrorizing them. Jolie's legal team states that she and the children remained silent and huddled under blankets for the remainder of the flight, too scared to move. After the plane landed, Jolie says she arranged separate transportation to a hotel to protect her children. However, she alleges that Pitt continued his tirade at the airport, cursing and being physically intimidating. This incident, according to Jolie, was the final straw that led her to file for divorce the very next day. While the FBI and LA County's Department of Children and Family Services investigated these allegations, Pitt was ultimately cleared. However, Jolie's team claims that there was enough evidence for the FBI to find probable cause to charge Pitt, but federal prosecutors declined to proceed with the case. But it didn't stop there. Jolie's filings describe hours of terror, with Pitt allegedly pouring beer and wine on both her and the children. She says they were too afraid to move and sat silently under blankets until Pitt eventually fell asleep. The very next day, Jolie decided to file for divorce. Pitt has consistently denied these allegations. Law enforcement, including the FBI and LA County's Department of Children and Family Services, investigated the incident and ultimately cleared him. However, Jolie's legal team claims the FBI found probable cause to charge Pitt, but that federal prosecutors declined to move forward. At the heart of this legal war is a controversial NDA. Jolie alleges that Pitt's insistence on her signing this non-disclosure agreement was not just about the vineyard, but a calculated attempt to silence her. She claims that the NDA would have legally barred her from speaking publicly about Pitt's alleged abusive behavior towards her and their children, locking her into silence indefinitely. Jolie's legal team argues that this NDA went far beyond standard business practices. According to her filings, it was designed to coerce her into giving up her rights to ever address Pitt's alleged misconduct, effectively making her a prisoner of his narrative. She contends that Pitt weaponized the vineyard negotiations to force her hand, presenting the NDA as a non-negotiable condition for the buyout. Jolie's legal team argues that this NDA went far beyond standard business practices. According to her filings, it was designed to coerce her into giving up her rights to ever address Pitt's alleged misconduct, effectively making her a prisoner of his narrative. She contends that Pitt weaponized the vineyard negotiations to force her hand, presenting the NDA as a non-negotiable condition for the buyout. Pitt, however, tells a different story. He argues that the NDA was purely standard legal practice, meant to protect the business and their mutual financial interests. He claims Jolie acted out of spite and malicious intent, going behind his back to sell her stake to Scheffler. Pitt's team has accused Jolie of weaponizing the abuse allegations to justify breaching their verbal agreement, seeking millions in damages to recover what he views as a deliberate betrayal. Legal experts note the contentious nature of NDAs in cases involving allegations of abuse. If Jolie can demonstrate that the NDA was unreasonable or coercive, it could bolster her claims of financial and emotional abuse. Conversely, Pitt's ability to frame the NDA as standard business procedure could strengthen his case for damages. The stakes are extraordinarily high, with millions of dollars and reputations hanging in the balance. But Jolie's recent courtroom win has turned the tide in this high-stakes battle. A judge has now ordered Pitt to hand over communications that could reveal everything about his alleged misconduct. And what these documents contain could be the final nail in the coffin for Pitt's defense. Stay tuned, we will dive into Jolie's courtroom victory, Pitt's next moves, and what this means for their bitter fight over Chateau Miraval and their legacy. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel tremendously. Angelina Jolie recently scored a significant legal victory in her ongoing battle against Brad Pitt. A judge ordered Pitt to hand over a trove of documents, including emails, text messages, and other communications, that could reveal crucial details about the alleged abuse and the broader context of their disputes. This development is seen as a major turning point, giving Jolie's team unprecedented access to evidence they believe could substantiate her claims. The court ruling was a significant blow to Pitt's legal strategy. Jolie's attorneys argue that these documents are essential to understanding the motivations behind Pitt's insistence on the restrictive NDA and his actions during and after their marriage. According to Jolie, the communications will show a pattern of behavior that supports her allegations of abuse and coercion. For Pitt, however, the release of these materials could be devastating, both legally and publicly. Pitt's legal team has pushed back hard against the ruling, calling it a fishing expedition. They argue that the court's order is overly broad and violates Pitt's right to privacy. His attorneys have signaled their intent to appeal the decision, hoping to limit the scope of the document disclosure. Legal experts, however, suggest that the odds may be stacked against Pitt. Discovery rulings like this are rarely overturned, and the public scrutiny surrounding this case only adds to the pressure. Pitt's team also contends that the abuse allegations are being weaponized to gain leverage in the vineyard dispute. They argue that Jolie is using these claims to deflect from her alleged violation of their verbal agreement regarding Chateau Miraval. This narrative, they hope, will resonate with a jury if the case goes to trial. This legal battle is about much more than money. For Pitt, Chateau Miraval represents years of investment and a deep personal connection. Losing control of the vineyard and the public fallout from the abuse allegations could irreparably damage his reputation and career. For Jolie, the stakes are equally high. She claims that her decision to sell her share was driven by necessity, not malice, and she's determined to prove that Pitt's actions left her with no other choice. The road ahead is fraught with uncertainty, but several scenarios could play out. On one hand, Jolie's recent courtroom win provides her with significant leverage, making a settlement more appealing to Pitt's team. Settling would allow both parties to avoid the public spectacle of a trial, keeping damaging communications and sensitive details out of the spotlight. However, a settlement may not be so simple. Pitt has demonstrated his willingness to fight for Chateau Miraval, which he views as a cornerstone of his legacy. For him, conceding could mean not only financial loss, but also a symbolic defeat. On the other hand, Jolie seems equally determined to prove her case, especially if she believes the evidence could vindicate her allegations of abuse. If the case goes to trial, the stakes will escalate dramatically. Both sides will need to present exhaustive evidence, including Jolie's allegations and Pitt's communications, potentially making private details of their relationship public. A trial would also test the validity of Jolie's claims about the NDA and Pitt's counterclaims about her breach of their verbal agreement. Another factor to consider is the court of public opinion. A trial could reignite debates about accountability and abuse in high-profile relationships, influencing public perception of both Jolie and Pitt for years to come. The outcome could shape their careers, legacies, and personal lives in ways neither may fully anticipate. Ultimately, the question remains: will cooler heads prevail? Or will this battle play out in one of the most closely watched trials in Hollywood history? This bitter legal battle between Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt is about more than a vineyard or even allegations of abuse. It's a fight for control over their narrative and legacy. As the court case unfolds, the world watches closely, wondering, will the truth ever fully come out? And when it does, what will it mean for two of Hollywood's most iconic stars?